Have you ever sat quietly, maybe over a cup of tea or while watching the news, and thought, why do the old wounds ache more when the world is at war again? It's not just the memories. It's something deeper. You see, when we talk about war, people often picture soldiers, tanks, and battlefields. But what we don't talk about enough is the quiet impact war has on those who have already lived through so much, especially those over 60. Maybe that includes you or someone you love dearly. This video isn't about politics or which side is right or wrong. This is about you, your mind, your heart, your peace, and how war, even from afar, can still reach into your life and stir things up. Because let's be honest, when the world shakes, it shakes everyone. But it hits differently when you've seen it before. So today, we're having a heart-to-heart, just you and me. We're going to talk about how war, whether it's on your doorstep or across the ocean, affects people over 60. Not just mentally, but emotionally, physically, even spiritually. And most importantly, what we can do to stay grounded, stay strong, and hold on to hope, even when the world feels upside down. Let's begin with something many of us know all too well: memories. You might be watching the news, and suddenly, you're not in your living room anymore. You're back in the past. Maybe it's a siren that sounds like one you heard in your youth. Maybe it's a photo of a soldier that reminds you of someone you lost. Or perhaps it's the look of fear in a mother's eyes on TV. And just like that, you're transported back to a moment you thought was buried long ago. War stirs the past like a spoon in still water. It brings everything up. If you've lived through a war before, and I know many of you have, you know how deeply those experiences live in the body. A sound, a smell, a certain feeling in the air. It's enough to bring the past rushing back in. That's not weakness. That's being human. That's the weight of experience. But here's the truth most people don't talk about. Our generation, the over 60 generation, carries a quiet kind of courage. A strength that's been earned, not given. Still, that doesn't make it easy. Emotional triggers are real. Anxiety, sadness, sleepless nights, they can all come back. You may find yourself withdrawing or feeling uneasy, even if you don't fully understand why. That's okay. You're not alone in that. So what do we do when the past comes back uninvited? We start by acknowledging it. Don't shove it down. Don't pretend it's not there. If something bothers you, name it. Say it out loud. Talk to someone, your spouse, your friend, your doctor, or even just write it down. You'd be surprised how much lighter your chest feels when you give the pain a name. Naming the storm is the first step to calming it. Now, beyond memories, there's something else war brings: uncertainty. And uncertainty is hard at any age, but especially after 60, when stability becomes one of the few things we want most. You've likely spent decades building a life, creating routines, finding peace in the simple things. Morning walks, family dinners, your favorite chair by the window. But when war happens, whether it's in your country or somewhere else, it sends ripples through everything. Prices go up, news gets scarier, travel feels unsafe, grandchildren get anxious, and suddenly, the peaceful rhythm of life starts to feel shaky. You may not be fighting on the front lines, but you still feel the tremors. Let me tell you something though, your life, your peace still matters. And even in the middle of global chaos, you can protect it. One way, control what you let in. That means limiting how much news you watch. I'm not saying ignore the world, but maybe don't start and end your day with war updates. Choose your sources wisely. Watch once a day, not all day. Surround yourself with calm voices, not panic. You've earned peace. Don't hand it over to a television screen. Sometimes the most powerful thing we can do is turn the volume down. Spend time doing things that feel real. Gardening, cooking, walking, praying, laughing with your neighbor, listening to music from your younger years. Let the present pull you back into itself. Because right now, this very moment is still yours. And it matters. There's also the physical toll we don't often think about. You may feel more tired, more tense. Your body might ache a little more than usual. That's not just age, it can be stress. Our bodies carry worry like a heavy backpack, and over time, it shows up in surprising ways. So be kind to your body. Rest more. Stretch. Eat nourishing foods. take your vitamins. Don't underestimate the power of a warm bath or a nap in the sunlight. These are not luxuries. They are essentials, especially during difficult times. Peace isn't a place. It's a practice. You've seen storms. You've survived them. You've come through things that younger generations may never understand. That resilience, it's still in you. It never left. And yes, war is cruel. It reaches far beyond borders. But your spirit, that belongs to you. And no bomb, no bullet, no headline can take it away. There's something powerful about being in your 60s and beyond. You built a life. You made it through heartbreaks, victories, health scares, good times, and tough ones. But even with all that wisdom and experience, war has a way of shaking the very ground we stand on. It brings questions that don't have easy answers. Will it spread? Will my grandchildren be safe? Will my retirement be enough if the economy changes again? That kind of worry doesn't sit on the surface. It sinks deep. And if you've noticed yourself feeling more anxious lately, more tired, more restless, you're not imagining it. The mind is always listening, even when we're not aware. That constant stream of distressing headlines, loud debates, scary images, it seeps into us. And as we age, we become more sensitive to the emotional weight of the world. Not weaker, just more open. And let's be honest, many of us are carrying more than just our own burdens. Maybe you're caring for your spouse or helping with grandkids. Maybe you're supporting a friend who's struggling emotionally. Maybe you're simply trying to stay strong so your family doesn't worry. That's a beautiful kind of love, but also a heavy one. So what can you do when the weight of the world feels like too much? You take one small step, and then another. One of the most healing things you can do is create daily grounding rituals. Little moments that remind your body and soul that you are safe, that you are home. It doesn't have to be complicated. Maybe it's starting your morning with soft music and a cup of warm tea before checking the news. Or lighting a candle and saying a prayer in the evening. Maybe it's writing one sentence each night in a journal about something that brought you peace that day, even if it was just hearing a bird sing or getting a smile from the cashier. These tiny habits don't erase war, but they help build an inner world that war can't touch. Sometimes we forget how much control we still have over our space, our choices, our day. And when the world outside feels chaotic, creating order inside is a kind of quiet rebellion. Organize your room, tend to your plants, cook a simple meal, call someone you love. Every small act of care is an anchor. Now, let's talk about something else that isn't always visible: isolation. During times of conflict, especially if you live far from family or friends, it's easy to retreat inward. Maybe you stop going out as much. Maybe your friends have become quieter. Maybe you feel like nobody really understands how this is affecting you. That kind of loneliness, especially during stressful times, can wear on your spirit more than anything else. But remember this: isolation isn't just about being alone. It's about feeling disconnected. And that disconnection, it grows when we stop reaching out. If you've been feeling withdrawn, try this. Pick up the phone. Call someone. Doesn't have to be a long conversation. Just a, "Hey, I was thinking about you. How are you doing?" It can change your entire day. Better yet, if your body allows it, step outside. Say hello to a neighbor. Join a local class or a walking group. Even just sitting at the park and exchanging smiles with strangers can remind you you are still part of something bigger. You don't have to carry this season of life alone. There's also great strength in simply sharing your story. When you talk about what you've lived through, your memories, your fears, even your moments of doubt, you not only help others understand, but you also heal a piece of yourself in the process. And trust me, there are people out there who need to hear from someone who's been through it before. Someone like you. So if you feel called to speak, speak. Write, record, share. Not for likes or followers, but because stories build bridges, and we need more bridges in this world. Finally, don't forget to take care of your emotional boundaries. You're not required to consume every piece of bad news just because it's there. You can care about the world and still protect your peace. You can pray for those in need and still laugh at a silly movie. You can be informed without being overwhelmed. Balance is not selfish. It's survival. You deserve joy. You deserve to feel safe. You deserve to wake up and feel calm in your chest. And when you don't, when the weight creeps in again, just come back to the small things. Your breath, the feel of warm socks, a kind word, a funny memory, a favorite song. These are not silly distractions. These are lifelines. The world might be unpredictable right now, but your response to it, how you treat yourself, how you support others, how you show up each day, that is still yours to shape. And you, my friend, are still shaping more than you know. Let's take a moment and breathe. Just you and me here. No headlines, no stress, no pressure to fix the world. Just the truth that you're here, you're breathing, and you've made it through every challenge life has thrown at you so far. That's no small thing, especially now when the world seems to shift every time we turn on the news. You might be wondering, what can I even do at this age to make sense of it all? The answer is more than you think. See, war doesn't just change borders, it changes hearts. It reshapes how we feel about safety, about purpose, about the future. And for those of us over 60 who have lived through other turbulent times, it can stir up old memories we thought were long buried. Maybe you remember hearing the sirens of a past conflict. Maybe you recall the long lines, the food shortages, or the tension in your parents' voices when you were just a child. That kind of fear doesn't disappear. It lives quietly inside, waiting for moments like these to resurface. But here's the difference now. You're not a child anymore. You're not powerless. You've grown. You've survived. And with that comes a new kind of strength. One rooted not in control, but in wisdom. And wisdom tells us that sometimes the bravest thing we can do is simply stay kind. Stay gentle. Stay hopeful. So let's talk about hope for a moment. Because when the world feels like it's falling apart, hope is not naive. It's necessary. Hope is what keeps us making tea in the morning. It's what makes us smile at the neighbor. It's what reminds us to water the plants, call a friend, or look up at the stars and whisper, "This too shall pass." You are allowed to hope, even in times of war. You are allowed to laugh, to feel joy, to dream of a better tomorrow. That's not being out of touch. That's being deeply human. Now, one of the most healing things you can offer the world right now is your presence. Just your presence. You don't need to join a protest or lead a movement unless you want to. But simply being a calm, grounded voice in a time of panic, that matters. More than you know. Think about the people around you, your family, your neighbors, your community. When they see you holding steady, when they hear you speak with kindness instead of fear, it gives them permission to breathe a little easier too. That's the quiet power of age. You don't have to shout to be heard. Your very presence can be a shelter. And while we're here, let's not forget something simple but powerful. Your body matters. I know, it might ache more than it used to. Maybe your energy isn't what it once was. But this body of yours, it has carried you through decades. It deserves love, movement, nourishment, and rest. Even a short walk, a few deep stretches, or dancing a little in the kitchen to your favorite old song can bring joy back to your day. Don't underestimate how much peace lives in your body, waiting to be awakened. Lastly, let's talk about legacy. Not in a grand, historical way. I mean the quiet legacy you leave every time you choose compassion over bitterness. Every time you pass down a story, teach a recipe, listen to someone younger with patience, or simply sit with someone in silence. That's your legacy. That's how you shape the world, even now. You see, war affects everyone, but it doesn't define everyone. And while it may test us, it also reminds us what matters most. Love, connection, resilience, and the ability to hold both heartbreak and hope in the same heart. So, if you're watching this right now, feeling uncertain or weary, let me remind you, you are not alone. There's a quiet strength in you that the world still needs. Don't hide it. Share it. Live it. You've already lived through so much, and you are still here. That alone is a miracle. Here's to more calm mornings, more meaningful conversations, more laughter that comes from deep in the belly. Here's to your voice being heard, your heart being lifted, and your story being honored. You matter, and you always have. If this message touched you, let us know in the comments what's helping you stay grounded lately. Like this video, and bell subscribe for more gentle, uplifting content made just for you. We'd love to hear what topics you want us to talk about next. Drop a comment, and let's keep the conversation going.